Lately, I've just been feeling like all of my days look the same. I wake up, I go to work, I come home, I go to sleep, I wake up, rinse and repeat. And honestly, I'm just too tired to do anything dramatic about it or life altering. I am 32. I like my little life that I have. I don't feel the need to reinvent my life. I spent my morning pages journaling about this, and it dawned on me that maybe my life isn't boring. Maybe it's that I'm not looking at my life with intention. And there's a quote that I had written a few pages prior, and it's from Maya Angelou, and I can't stop thinking about it, but I think it's also so applicable to how I'm feeling right now. She once said, "The trick is to fall in love with your own life." The way you make your first cup of coffee and that first sip that you take that brings you back to life, the deliciousness of it all. The music that you listen to while you work on your required chores for the week. The way that your light hits your desk during the mid-afternoon. Sometimes I see rainbows. I might have had an epiphany this morning, but truly, my life is only as boring as I make it out to be. I am in control of my life and how I perceive it. So for the next few days in this vlog, we're going to turn those mundane moments of life into whimsy, into softness. I'm going to live this week with intention, and I want to notice the big and little things of my life. Just change my perspective to know that my life is beautiful. My life is whimsical. I'm going to romanticize my life as what we're calling it these days. Because maybe the magic isn't in doing more, it's in noticing more. And I'll leave you with one more quote. Romanticize your life. You don't have to wait for a special occasion to live beautifully. So this week, I want to make myself feel like every day is so special for me and no day is boring. I feel like my insecurity has stemmed from the fact that for the last few videos, I felt like all of my videos have been the same, and I've been filming the same pieces of content in my videos. And I started to notice this after I finished up my Artist's Way series on YouTube. And I've been feeling like my life is so boring because of it. Obviously, your life is what you make of it, and that's why I'm trying to sprinkle in little moments that bring joy and make me feel like my life has meaning and my life has small moments that add whimsy and add the enjoyment to it all. Yesterday was the perfect example of that. I had a little bit of time in between meetings after lunch. So from work, I stopped by Barnes & Noble and I got myself a book that had just released. I feel so invigorated just thinking about books. I'm also just really proud of myself because I only got one book, even though I had picked out a few. It's okay because I'm just keeping an eye out for the Saturday when I do go book shopping and I can purchase some books. Cleopatra by Sarah L. Arifi. This beautiful piece of art had me feeling the same way as how I felt reading Clytemnestra by Costanza Casati, which is one of my absolute favorite books. This was a masterpiece. It's your classic female rage, woman empowerment story, but it's told from Cleopatra's point of view. This is a story of Cleopatra herself, the last pharaoh of Egypt, the lover of both Julius Caesar and Antony. We've been told by historians that she is a seductress, she is a witch, she's a villain in the making. But this story is a beautiful story about motherhood, friendship, love. And what I absolutely found to be the most impeccable part of the story is the writing. It's told in first person point of view from Cleopatra. And as she's reading it, she's also breaking the fourth wall. So while reading this story, I felt like she was sitting right beside me. I had a cup of coffee and she was telling me her life story. It was so intimate in that way. This will be going up top where my 6-star absolute favorite stories go. I knew I just needed to get myself a physical copy, and it came out yesterday. So just going back to the idea of Cleopatra taking control of her own power, it was nice for me to take control of my day and do something for myself that made me feel good. I walked around the bookstore, I looked at different books. Yes, I treated myself, but just little moments that you can change and adjust, doing something out of the ordinary that's still so simple that adds value to your day. And I felt that way after going to Barnes & Noble and just walking around a bookstore. That made my day not boring at all. I could have just gone straight home and sat here, I guess. But instead, I did something for myself, and it's things like that that we deserve to do more of. Enjoy the little slices of life that you're given. And with that, I thought I could share my March TBR. I am buddy reading with Rupali, and we are going to be reading Masters of Death by Olivia Blake. One for My Enemy is one of my favorite romance fantasy stories of all time. It's up there. It's for sure up there. This is supposed to be a paranormal fantasy romance about a vampire who is a real estate agent, and she can't sell this house until she solves the murder of the person who's murdered, and the ghost is haunting the house. So she hires a medium, and the medium's name is Fox, and he's a scam, but they work together, go on this quest, and they meet like other magical creatures on the way. I'm so excited. I know it's not October, but I think it's going to be a good time because now I am an Olivia Blake stan. Oh, also because I read Girl Dinner a few months ago and I loved it. So I am officially Olivia Blake's favorite fan. Could say number one. Could say. And then on my March TBR, I'm adding Grape Juice by Eliza Dumas. This was gifted to me by 831 Stories. I've said before, I just love how short these stories are. This is a story about Alice who lives in New York. She doesn't feel very fulfilled with her life, so her boss sends her to Paris, or no, Italy, somewhere, France, some vineyard in Europe, and she ends up getting day drunk and meeting someone else there who's French, I think, and they just build this unlikely relationship. And it sounds sweet, short, just what I need as we're getting into the spring months. And then on top of that, I have my Fable Book Club's pick for the month of April. And then the last two books are
arcs that I am trying to read and get to. The first one is called Gunk by Saba Sams. This is like a contemporary literary fiction. It's about our main character. Her name is Jules. She works at a nightclub named Gunk. She's been divorced from her husband, who also works there for 5 years. Her husband ends up hiring a girl named Nova. Nim is her name. And they start to connect, and Nim gets pregnant for. So that happens. She gets pregnant, and then once the baby arrives, Nim is missing. So now Jules just has a baby, and now she's like contemplating her future. It's supposed to be spunky, fun. It's a contemporary fiction. I don't know. I got the arc. The cover looks funky, so I decided I wanted to read it. And I have Year of the Mare, which is supposed to be a really dark queer retelling of Little Mermaid, and I don't need to know any more. I will read it because Little Mermaid was one of my favorite movies growing up. Those are the books that I want to read for March. I'm trying to keep my TBRs a little bit less hefty. I am adding too much stress to myself when it comes to reading books, and this year I've been really slowing down with my reading pace and not forcing myself to read when I don't want to. So far, it's only been 2 months, but I've been enjoying the pace at which I am going. Those are the books that I want to read in March. As you can tell, the sun is coming in and out. Thankfully, the sun is starting to set a little bit later. After work, Mark and I are going to take the pups on a walk, and that's how I'm going to end my day. I think tonight I'm going to knit my sweater, which I should give you updates on. I will in this video at some point. It's been a lovely day. I did get a lot of knitting done, so I figured I can give you a knitting update and what I'm working on right now. I am working on my second sweater. I am making the step-by-step sweater by Florence Miller once again. I finished my very first sweater a few videos ago. I can't remember. I'm so proud of what I created. There's just something so stimulating about using your hands to create a piece of art, and I feel extremely fulfilled, and I wanted to make one more step-by-step sweater before I start something a little bit more difficult for me. I did not do the German short rows the first time. German short rows occur at the neckline, and it's basically so that the back of your sweater is longer than your front, and so your neck doesn't choke you when you wear it. And I'm happy to say that I have almost finished the yoke, and I'm almost ready for the body of this sweater. Knock on wood, but I've had 0 errors on this sweater. I can't believe it either. It looks nearly perfect. That's what I'm working on right now. I have only few plans this week. Saturday, I'm going book shopping, as I mentioned. Sunday, it's supposed to be very cold and it might snow, so I will be lighting the fireplace and getting a lot of knitting done and hopefully make more progress on this. That's my knitting update. I am very happy with how it turns out, and just another reason to show that my life isn't boring, because I am creating something in my life and I'm creating something worth wearing, worth using. I am using my time to build something that I'm going to be proud of. And yeah, I need to just constantly remind myself that you don't have to do extravagant activities and things to feel fulfilled. And even just like I've mentioned 500 times in this video, the smallest moments can be thought of with grace and just thought of as being more than just little moments. So for the rest of the day, I'm going to finish up work. And actually, funny thing is, I'm tired of my room. I'm always changing my room in my videos, and the thing is, if I'm not happy with something, I'm gonna do something about it. I just want to rearrange some furniture in my room. Where I sit right now is right next to the window, and for the sake of privacy, I constantly have to adjust my camera so I'm not showing what's outside of my window. So you all don't know where I live, safety first. And so I'm gonna move some things around. I have a few ideas and I will show you what it's gonna look like after. Here's the thing, it's my room. I'm gonna do whatever the heck I wanna do with it because it's my life and I sit in that room every single day, constantly.
And voila, I intended on filming my reorganization of my room, and honestly, I felt like that was going to be exhausting to edit. I don't know how people do it. I am a tired gal today. You just got to see the one take, and there she is. I'm really liking how it turned out. It still is pretty much the same. Everything that I had before is in the room still. I just adjusted some things around, and I feel like in the corner where I have my bookshelf and my TBR bookshelf, I can still sit there and film and have a nice backdrop. I still have my reading chair. I'm in my corner, my cozy little reading corner. I have been reading a lot of articles on Substack lately. If you have Substack, you should subscribe to me and be my friend on Substack. I have only written 2 posts, articles, little pieces so far. It's something that I want to get into to improve my writing, and I have been trying to scroll on Substack more than on Instagram. There's one article that I found that I will link down below. It talks about creating an observation journal. This is my observation journal. I just created like a title page for my observation journal. It's to take advantage of your senses and what you're seeing around you. The goal for an observation journal is to improve your observation skills, like what you're noticing around you. The whole point is to be able to have a log of different observations that you can use for your writing, pieces of notes that you can take to look back on. Now for me, I'm not writing a book. I don't want to write a book. I would much rather just read my books. But I decided to start an observation journal to get out of the mindset that my life is boring. It's those little moments in life that I'm starting to realize are the most important moments. It's those mundane moments that you look past that actually make life the sweetest. It's the little things. I started an observation journal just so I can kind of disconnect with social media, disconnect from technology, and be able to appreciate nature and the life that I live around me. The writer said, when you look at your surroundings, you can turn the smallest moments into art. You begin to realize the world is alive and abundant in ways digital media will never be. The goal of the observation journal is to turn awareness of your surroundings into a habit. I am only 2 days into writing in my observation journal, but I want to keep up the habit. I have a journal with me. It's one of my Paper Republic pockets where I take everywhere I go, and that's where I can just dump anything that I see, hear, do, or any piece of dialogue that I want to add at the end of the day into my observation journal. And I have a quote for you from Joan Didion. I'm not telling you to make the world better. I'm telling you to live in it. Not just to endure it, but to live in it, to look at it. There's 4 pieces. It's one thing you saw, one thing you heard, and for the one thing you heard, that's different from dialogue. The one thing you heard is maybe something in nature that you're experiencing. So one thing you did, so an activity, and then a piece of dialogue that you overhear. I'm having the hardest time picking up on dialogue and getting myself to pay attention to other people. I want to share one from February 25th on Wednesday. Mark and I went on a walk with Bucky and Molly. The weather this week has been beautiful. Our walks are just really a fun time to not only get to chat with each other about our day, decompress, but it's a way for us to like see our neighbors, and we just love when we get to see other dogs on their walks. And there is this one house that has a basset, and as we were going on our walks, we saw the basset and then the sibling running and barking from the backyard to the front yard. I was so happy, but I was also really sad because it reminded me of Mowgli. Mowgli's a beagle. He was beagle basset. It just brought me so much joy just to see this basset hound running and its ears just so floppy, because that's just how Mowgli ran too. Not a day goes by that I don't think about Mowgli, but that's just one thing that I saw and wrote down in my observation journal. A reminder that what you notice can bring up some of the most like emotional moments for you, and to take that to heart. That's why it's so important to keep observations like this. A piece of dialogue. It's a dialogue between Mark and I. Mark went to Costco to pick up some groceries, and I personally, I love Costco. I don't like going to Costco. There's a big difference, and I think that's very valid and very normal. Mark came back and he had a list. He's supposed to go for a list with the list, and he brought back these pastries, some strawberry pastries, and he said to me, I was only going to get one, but then the cash register lady said it's a 2-pack. What other flavor do you want? So he ended up bringing home 2 flavors. Yes, there are rules in life, but sometimes it's okay to break those rules and to treat yourself a little. So we have 2 boxes of strawberry cream cheese Danishes, and they're freaking delicious. Observations and taking note of seemingly insignificant daily occurrences can add realism, movement, and life to your art, and just elevate your life. Your life is only as boring as you make it to be, and your life is only as boring as you want it to be and how you picture it to be. This whole week, it's been really lovely just noticing that my life isn't boring, my videos aren't boring, how I choose to think about my life matters. And we only get one. So, yeah, my life isn't boring, your life isn't boring, and I hope that you can now just remember to enjoy like the mundane moments and cherish what you have and just notice everything around you. With that, I am going to end this video. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful, non-boring life.